Ho-Yeong knows the tower's future, until the tower starts changing it. Spoilers ahead for this part of the Korean webtoon. Ho-Yeong Lee survives by reading the world like a strategy route. Towers, systems, quests, and dungeon rules all become clues he can use before everyone else understands the danger. But his advantage comes with a brutal catch. The more he interferes, the more the story shifts away from what he thought he knew. That turns every correct answer into a gamble, because saving one person may create a new disaster somewhere else. The city's brief grace period ends when a massive tower appears and the crowd realizes those first days were never the real apocalypse. Ho-Yeong understands the meaning faster than most. The tutorial is over, and the tower's next phase has begun. A quest notice pulls him and his group into an Orc Den, where monsters are already gathered like the stage has been waiting for them. Ho-Yeong spots the first problem immediately. People have followed in after him, which means his planned route is already being disturbed. He orders everyone to stay close, choosing formation over panic, while a blonde or brown-haired ally answers the first wave with a golden spear-like attack. The group survives the opening clash, but Ho-Yeong can already feel the danger of a story that refuses to stay neat. The battle pressure gives way to a stranger kind of fear when the group reaches a boss room-like space and a hooded, glowing-eyed figure draws attention. Someone questions the figure's identity, but the real weight comes from Ho-Yeong's warning about the chain of regressions. The idea is not just that events repeat. It is that people are tired of being crushed by the same cycle and are desperate for an ending. Ho-Yeong cannot answer the way they want him to. He has knowledge from the guide or novel-like source, but he does not know what causes the regression itself. That leaves him exposed between two truths. He knows too much to look innocent, yet too little to promise salvation. The mystery of the loop becomes more dangerous than the monsters. Ho-Yeong follows the guide toward a large academy-like building, where the next important group is supposed to appear. At first, the place turns power into a simple spectacle. Participants hit a machine, numbers appear, and the crowd judges them by scores. One fighter lands a low result, another improves on it, and a muscular participant pushes the number higher with raw force. For most observers, it is entertainment mixed with ranking pressure. For Ho-Yeong, it is reconnaissance. He is not watching the machine as much as the people around it, because the guide suggests that someone tied to the original story should surface here. The evaluation turns into a filter, separating background participants from figures who may matter later. Ho-Yeong's advantage is patience, but even patience becomes risky when the next quest is already forming behind the test. The controlled evaluation collapses into real danger once combat begins inside the quest space. Fighters clash with monsters, sword techniques cut through the field, and explosions fill the area, but Ho-Yeong notices something that should not happen in a normal test. The enemies are not only attacking. They are adapting, almost learning from the techniques being used against them. A shadowy enemy's reaction makes that suspicion worse, because it suggests the monsters are absorbing sword power or copying battle patterns. Ho-Yeong's thoughts turn uneasy as he realizes the situation may involve more people and more variables than he expected from the story. Seo-Jiwoo and the others keep fighting, but the appearance of a dark tower or sealed chamber with a lone figure inside gives the whole field a hidden center. Ho-Yeong now has to uncover what the test is really protecting. After the danger eases, Ho-Yeong faces a different kind of confrontation. Near the glowing tower-like structure, a brown-haired ally presses him about whether he already knew what was coming. The question cuts deeper than simple suspicion, because the group has seen enough to understand that Ho-Yeong is not guessing like everyone else. They push toward the possibility that he is a regressor, but he denies it. His problem is that the denial does not explain the knowledge he keeps using. He apologizes and admits he is not all-knowing, while still carrying information that gives him an edge. Soon the academy practical begins, students gather under an instructor, and dungeon groups are set. Ho-Yeong knows a berserk incident matters here, but the cause remains hidden, which makes his next decision dangerous. Inside the dungeon, Go Yongwoo suddenly breaks down in front of Ho-Yeong. His apology is not a casual mistake. It feels like guilt tied to something that happened, or something he believes will happen once the dungeon collapses into disaster. Ho-Yeong could treat him as a problem, but instead he recognizes the fear behind the apology and tells Yongwoo he does not need to carry that blame. That kindness steadies the younger boy and gives the group a moment of emotional clarity before the fight resumes. Ho-Yeong then focuses everyone on the real objective. The answer is not simply to kill whatever appears first. The boss must be stopped from going berserk. With Seo Jiwoo nearby and Jerkan waiting deeper inside the labyrinth, Ho-Yeong follows the guide while accepting that the route is already imperfect. The deeper the group moves, the less the dungeon feels like a simple monster arena. Purple-blue magic, black-pink energy, and the continuing pressure of the black orb all point toward Jerkan's berserk state, but Ho-Yeong begins to see something more personal underneath it. A memory-like scene reveals an elderly goblin-like figure focused on protecting the labyrinth and its treasure. That changes the meaning of the conflict. These enemies may not be mindless obstacles placed for students to clear. They may be reacting from grief, fear, or a buried history the original story ignored. When black-purple force erupts and an ally is caught off guard, the party scrambles to stabilize the situation. Ho-Yeong realizes that if the guide only showed the surface, then the truth of the dungeon may be the key to changing the tragedy. The berserk monster forces Ho-Yeong into a direct gamble. He recognizes a sacrificial knife-like threat and thinks through the strategy, including Go Yongwoo's ability to weaken the boss, but the details were never fully clear from the guide. The monster attacks with dark energy, and Ho-Yeong has to dodge and counter at close range instead of calmly managing from the back. He does not want to expose one of his own hidden cards too early, yet saving tricks for later means nothing if the group dies now. A blonde ally creates a golden shield and blocks a heavy strike, giving Ho-Yeong the opening he needs. He reads the boss pattern, moves with a blue-black attack, and cuts through the monster's force. The system confirms victory, but the memory left behind proves the dungeon held a sorrow the route never explained. The aftermath is quieter, but not peaceful. Students gather under an older authority figure, and the survivors stand with the weight of the dungeon practical still hanging over them. A blonde ally gives Ho-Yeong a slip of paper or card, leaving behind a connection before the path shifts again. Then the hooded guide figure apologizes, and Ho-Yeong reaches a clearer resolve. The original plot will not be allowed to decide the ending for everyone. They will choose a happier one themselves. A system notice confirms the second scenario has been cleared, but the reward is strange. Ho-Yeong receives a Tamer-related class and a small blue pet-like creature. It looks almost harmless, yet the timing makes it suspicious. Soon the next floor's endless battle begins, and a boss-like threat appears far too early, proving the tower still has new rules to break. This stretch works because Ho-Yeong's guide knowledge stops being a cheat code and becomes a responsibility. He can predict routes, recognize event flags, and read boss patterns, but every saved life pushes the world further from the script. Go Yongwoo's guilt, Jerkan's memories, and the strange Tamer reward all point toward the same idea: the tower is not just testing strength. It is testing whether Ho-Yeong will treat people as characters in a route or as lives worth protecting. That makes his growth more interesting than simple power leveling. He is becoming dangerous because he studies systems, but he is becoming heroic because he refuses to accept a cruel ending as inevitable. That leaves Ho-Yeong stronger, more exposed, and followed by a mysterious new pet as the tower keeps changing its own rules. Subscribe for the next manhwa recap, because the early boss threat could reveal what his strange Tamer class is really meant to do.